Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Maroon Devil Coaches Show here on the Maroon Devils Network. Our favorite topic, of course, is Maroon Devil football with head coach Sherman Holt. Coach, I know it's coming off a tough loss against the Andrews Wildcats. I think they moved up to number 1 in the state this week. So, obviously, Coach Phillips and his crew, very good team over there. Tell us a little bit what you've seen on film and what our Maroon Devils can learn coming out of this football game, getting ready for Hayesville.
You know, the first thing we got to do is take care of the football. You know, we had 4 turnovers, and one of them went back for a touchdown. And, you know, Andrews had been averaging over 40 points a game before that, and we don't need to help them out any, you know. And so for our kids, you know, just taking care of the football, we had done a better job of that, you know, the last 3 or 4 weeks. And so kind of relapsed there in the turnover department. And then as far as defensively, you know, we missed a couple tackles that I wasn't real pleased with, just our technique, and so went back this week and really revisited, you know, tackling technique and just back to the basics a little bit for us on defense. And then special teams really wasn't bad, but it didn't give us anything. You know, we never flipped the field for the field position battle, and so we kind of come in on Sunday to our staff meeting and we said, you know, how can we you know, get back to making some plays in the special teams and taking care of the football and doing things defensively that we had done in the 6 games prior to that really kind of give us a shot to win ball games. And so it's kind of back to focusing on us and not worrying about everybody else. And but Andrews, good football team. They do a good job. So hats off to them for their efforts Friday night.
Yeah, Coach, coming into this week, it's hard to believe that it's homecoming, our last home game of the regular season. Hayesville Yellow Jackets coming to town, and I think they have a family thing going on over there because they have head coach Chad McClure, assistant coach Darren McClure. One of their assistants is Frank Leatherwood, one of those guys who played up there at that school up north that wears black and gold called Appalachian State. Played some for the Miami Dolphins. Well, they have kids playing. Their best running back is Taylor McClure, and, of course, Avery Leatherwood is Frank's son. So, wow, they got coaches' sons, and that means they know football, don't they?
Yeah, you know, you turn on the tape, and they got a lot of kids that do some things that it kind of makes you open your eyes a little more. You know, they're very athletic. I think their quarterback might be one of the most accurate quarterbacks that we've seen as far as just when they throw it. He's very accurate, very efficient, and so it's going to be a tough test for our kids this week.
Yeah. Talking about their quarterback, of course, Logan Caldwell, a senior. He's been in this system a while. He knows what Coach McClure wants to do, and obviously that's a big plus when you have that experience in the backfield.
Yeah, you know, you really can't teach it, you know, right. And so playing Hayesville last year when I was at Tuscola, you know, they are a lot similar to what they were, you know, a year ago as far as big playability. You know, they throw it quite a bit, and they probably run it more this year than they did last year. But for me, you know, going in telling our kids on Monday, you know, assignment football, doing the things that we can control, how we tackle, how we rally to the football, you know, blocking up front, sustaining drives, getting things going offensively for us is really important this week. And, you know, we're excited about our game plan. We feel like we can limit some things that they do very well. And so it's just going to be a good challenge. And the thing that we got to think about is wherever 20's at, the McClure kid, we got to make sure we recognize that. And then if there's something that we haven't seen on film, I think every film we've watched, they've done 1 or 2 things a little different. Not necessarily a trick play, but they might try to out-leverage you with an unbalanced or an over or a bunch set. And so our kids, you know, we've watched a lot of film already this week, and so just recognizing what they're giving us, and if we see something that, hey, we ain't seen this before, you know, might be call a timeout or something like that. So.
Coach, we look at their running backs. So you're talking about, again, Taylor McClure and their other running back. They're big kids. They're both 200 pounds plus. Are they more of a power kind of running game, or do they really spread it out and try to get you with motion?
A little bit of both. You know, they line up in the wing tee a little bit, and where they go tight end, fullback, tailback, both in 3-point stances about 3 yards behind the quarterback. So they like buck sweep. and they like that what I call G power, and so they really do good at that. They like the fullback trap. It's always what can we see that they like to do, and can we limit one or two things. You can't stop everything, but they really like buck sweeps, so our outside linebackers and defensive ends got to play good this week, trying to turn it back inside, keeping outside free. And so they present a challenge just because they line up in the wing tee, and then they'll line up 3-by-1, 2-by-2, spread look. So a lot of different formations. They motion and they trade the tight ends and the wings. And so our kids has got to be real disciplined with alignment. That's another thing we didn't do real good last week on defense is when Andrews would go tackle over, we're supposed to slide a man, and we wasn't really sliding a man all the time. And so we've really preached to them these first 2 days. If they line up like this, this is how we have to align. And so just teaching alignments and recognition, and so that's big for us. But they do a lot of stuff that was what I call eye candy. They'll start out over here, and then they trade or they motion, but they're still trying to run buck sweep, or they're trying to run quarterback sweep. They really like to let the Caldwell kid keep it and make something happen with his feet, because he's a pretty athletic kid, and he's smart. Very, very smart with the football, takes care of it, good game manager. So we got to be able to limit his big play ability.
Yeah. Coach, talking about another athlete, Avery Leatherwood, as we mentioned, of course, his dad was a very good tight end, played at Pisgah, and then went on to Appalachian State, moved up and played some in the NFL. You've got to be aware of him because overall he's one of the most athletic kids on the field.
Yeah, he presents challenges both offensively and defensively. Anytime you are as athletic as Avery is, things can happen. Yeah. And, he's hard to block on defense. And so we just got to recognize where he's at and, limit the ability of him making a big play. And we've told our defense all year, if we can limit big plays, we're going to have a chance. And so Friday night's not going to be any different. You watch film and you look at box scores and you look at stats and stuff. Hayesville, and I've said this many times, if you don't show up in the SMC this year, you're probably going to go home with a loss. Yeah. And so don't matter who it is. Last week, not saying that we didn't show up, but we didn't play well, and it showed. So it's one of those things where we just preach to our kids, you got to show up, you got to be ready to play. And Hayesville's got some athletes, and they're pretty good up front, I feel like, and so it's going to be tough for us just to, how do we respond from last Friday to this Friday, and of course it being homecoming. I haven't mentioned it to any of our kids. I don't want to make it no more of a distraction than what it could be, and so we're just going business as usual, and so it's one of those things where we just got to make sure we understand what the game plan is. We execute the game plan at a high level, and I think we'll have a shot. So,
yeah. Coach, coming into this game, obviously both teams want to get back on the winning track. Hayesville has lost 3 games in a row. Of course, our Maroon Devils, I think, are on that same path. What is the mindset coming into this game where, look, hey, we got to get back in Maroon Devil football mode. We want to win. Of course, Hayesville's thinking the same thing. So what's the mindset you think of these two teams coming in?
Well, I can't speak for Hayesville, but I know for us, our kids showed up Monday and they was ready to work. And so that was good because you never know after a game like Friday what the mentality and just the feeling is of in the locker room. And so our kids showed up Monday. We lifted weights. We had a good film session. And, we practiced probably till about 10 minutes to 7 because Monday's our long day, right. Just because we watch a lot of film, and our kids were excited and, just glad to have an opportunity to get better. And so I think from our standpoint, our kids have got to the point where they've bought in, they understand what we're working towards, and 1 or 2 or even 3 games is not going to define us, and that's what we try to tell them. And because it could be very easy to be down in the dumps, woe is me, stuff like that. And so our kids come back with a good attitude, and we worked hard on Monday, had a good practice yesterday, and we've just got to what I call tighten up, hunker down, and just keep working and keep playing hard and trying to get better, for us. And that's how we've kind of approached this week.
Yeah. Coach, I know both teams are probably banged up some this part of the season with only, 3 or 4 games left in the regular season. Guys are banged up. They're sore. They're probably kind of tired. I know their legs get tired. So obviously you got to be aware of how to keep the guys fresh. And that's kind of a challenge at this point of the year, isn't it?
It is. You got to know, how hard do you work them out in the weight room? How heavy do you go and the stuff like that, and then the conditioning after practice. Do you run them every day like you did in August, or do you scale back a couple days, or how much hitting live do you do in practice? And I've just figured our team out. If we don't go pretty hard Monday through Wednesday, we don't have good practices. So we got to play physical. We might not bring them down to the ground, but and we scale back our time a little bit on Wednesdays, go about 2 hours, hour and 45 minutes. And so for us, it's when we're out there, let's make it good, let's get better, work hard, and then we'll take care of you, So, but injuries, are kind of, at this point in the year, I think everybody's a little dinged up. We've been very fortunate. We've not had any real major, injuries. Ben Payne didn't play last week against Andrews with his knee, and I think he's going for an MRI today just to see what that is, and we'll get the results back on that. But other than that one, that's really our only player that's missed a game due to a serious injury.
Yeah.
So.
Coach, I know you don't want your players distracted, but coming up on Friday, it is homecoming. We want that. We want that side of the field up there under that press box full of people because, this is a game that our fans can get into like always, and our fans have been great all year. So we hope they're going to show out in numbers on Friday night.
Yeah, I told our kids Monday. The good thing about this week is we get to come back home, Memorial Stadium, and I'll be honest, I've never been at a place where every week on Friday or a couple weeks ago on Thursday, it's been packed. And it helps us. It helps our kids when it's loud, and we tell them all the time, let's go make our county proud. And I told them, what better way to get back to winning and, winning the way we want to win and playing the way we want to play than it being homecoming at Memorial Stadium in front of a packed house, So I think our kids are excited about that opportunity. And I know as a staff, we've been really happy with the way the turnouts have been for the games, because it makes a difference.
Sure.
When you've got 3,000 or 4,000 people on that one side and the track's filled up, it makes our kids excited to play.
Yeah. One final thought, Coach. As they're working on the track, it's even cool to see the track is kind of a maroon color, so it's looking good.
It is. They've worked hard on that track, and the hardest thing for me while they've been doing that is keeping our kids off of it. I wish we could have built a fence or something to keep them off, but it's been kind of stressful with barrels and caution tape. So, but they've done a good job. It looks good, and excited about what's going on in Swain County as far as our facilities here. Somebody said yesterday, this is a pretty place, and it's only getting prettier. And so, we got great facilities. We've got a beautiful setting. The leaves are changing. And I told somebody the other day the S is turning maroon, on the bank. So it's time to get serious in Swain County. So, but we're glad and pleased with what we have here for our kids to use to get better and train. And so, it'll be fun to watch people see what they say about that maroon track on Friday.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
Fans, kickoff coming up just around the corner. Keep it right here as we're getting ready for kickoff on the Maroon Devils Network.